our last lesson, we learned how empires and monarchies were present in Europe around 200 years ago. And over the years, these empires, these monarchies, these kingdoms disintegrated, paving the way towards the formation of independent nation states. Now, while we briefly talked about the formation of these nation states, we mentioned the point that it was this one spirit of nationalism that helped, or that rather contributed to, the formation of nation states. Well, let us now learn about what this spirit of nationalism means. Nationalism is a sense of oneness born out of sharing the same geographical territory. So people living in the same geographical territory have or feel a sense of belongingness, a sense of rootedness to the lands they are living in. So it is this one shared geographical unit that births in people's mind a sense of oneness that is also understood as nationalism. At the same time, people living in the same country also share the same cultural and historical background. So, shared history and culture plays a very important role in fostering the spirit of nationalism, the spirit of identification or relatability. And then these people living in the same country also have shared aspirations to be independent of any kind of foreign dominion. Consider an example in this regard. Suppose I live in a country called India, and I will feel a sense of rootedness to the land of this nation, because I was born in this nation, and so I will identify with this nation. With many groups of people living in this country, I will have a shared history and culture. And like other Indians, I will also have the aspiration of remaining independent from any kind of foreign rule or dominion. So all in all, the spirit that will be fostered in my mind, the spirit that will make me feel a kind of devotion, a kind of commitment, a kind of identification with the country is known as nationalism. So this is what we understand by the spirit of nationalism. And it is this one spirit of nationalism that held all the masses together when they were overthrowing the erstwhile monarchies and kingdoms to form new independent nation states. Many historians and scholars are of the opinion that nationalism is in fact the binding factor, the tool with which new nation states were constructed. So the spirit of nationalism is the real architect of the new nation states, as many scholars and historians believe. Another question that we need to address here is that what caused a transition in the political systems? Now, around 200-300 years ago, Europe consisted of many empires and kingdoms and monarchies. And today we know Europe consists of many independent nation states. So, what caused this shift? Was there any particular moment that rolled the dice and set this entire history of Europe on a path of change? Many historians are of the opinion that this one event was the French Revolution. The French Revolution did not just alter the course of history of Europe, but it shaped and it completely modified human history. It was a turning point in human history because it was this French Revolution that paved the way for the formation of independent nations over the years. Now, this French Revolution has been crucial in ways more than one because it gave birth to the spirit of nationalism. Now, when people were living in the French Empire during the old regime, they felt exploited and discriminated against by the ruling classes. Now, the clergy, the monarchy, the aristocracy, enjoyed immense power over the members of the third estate in the old regime prior to the French Revolution. Now, these members of the third estate were filled with anger and rebellious ideas against the first and the second estates as well as the French monarchy. And what held these people together is the spirit of nationalism with which they could wage such a huge revolution that changed the face of human history. So the French Revolution played a very crucial part in this sense. And at the same time, it also inspired subsequent democratic revolutions. So people were now slowly becoming aware of how exploited they were in the erstwhile monarchies and kingdoms. And so they were now wanting to follow the lead of the French Revolution in order to wage their own democratic revolutions and gain independence from any kind of monarchical rule, from any kind of tyrannical despotic power. And at the same time, the French Revolution also gave birth to many ideas and concepts that together made up the spirit of liberalism. Liberalism refers to the liberty or the freedom of an individual. Liberalism takes into account that individuals should not be discriminated against before the law on any grounds. So these were the ways in which the French Revolution left behind a huge impact in not just France but throughout Europe. We mentioned this concept of liberalism, and the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity together make up the spirit of liberalism. Now by liberty we refer to the freedom of an individual, because individuals are treated as independent citizens in the liberal nations. And by equality we mean that citizens are treated equal before the law. So citizens are not discriminated against on the basis of their race, their gender or the class they belong to. And by fraternity we mean a feeling of brotherhood, a feeling of oneness. So these ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity have survived as the most important legacy of the French Revolution. In fact, liberty, equality and fraternity became the clarion call of the French Revolution altogether. Now prior to the French Revolution, in the old regime, strict censorship laws were imposed. That is to say, whatever was published in the old regime in the French Empire had to be in accordance with what the monarch or the king had to say. So anything that the monarch did not agree with was most definitely not published. So this is how censorship was very strict in the old regime. But it was for this first time that with the French Revolution, censorship was abolished in France. Now the storming of the Bastille was the most important event in the French Revolution, because this officially started the French Revolution. Now this Bastille prison was seen as a symbol of oppression by the French masses, and they stormed this Bastille prison to deal a severe blow to the French monarchy. With this, censorship was also abolished in France, and so the masses were now liberated. They could voice their opinions and ideas. Their thoughts no longer remained imprisoned. Likewise, this French Revolution also necessitated another very important thing. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen that was declared after the French Revolution granted people the freedom of speech and expression. So people in the old regime in the French Empire did not enjoy the freedom of speech and expression. No one had the power to contest or challenge the absolute monarchical rule in France. But now it was this declaration of the rights of man and of the citizen that granted people the freedom of speech. They could now voice their opinions. They could come up with their own ideas, their own responses to different things happening in the society. And they could also express their thoughts freely. So the abolition of censorship laws together with the granting of the freedom of speech and expression were very important manifestations, or rather logical continuations of the French Revolution. Before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. Declaration of the rights of man and of the citizen granted people the freedom of speech and expression in France. Do you think this statement is true or false? Well, this statement is true. In the old regime, people in the French Empire did not have the freedom or the independence to speak whatever they want, to express however they wanted to do. But now it was with the Declaration of Rights of Man and of the Citizen that people were now granted the freedom of speech and expression. The French Revolution had its impact felt throughout Europe in different kinds of ways. Firstly, we learnt about how it fostered the spirit of nationalism. Then it inspired and influenced and shaped subsequent democratic revolutions. So people were now in search of democratic systems. They were hungry for democracy. They were hungry for the power that they could yield to overthrow the despotic and tyrannical monarchical rules. At the same time, the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity birthed in people's minds new ways of looking at the world. Now, when censorship laws were abolished in France, when people were free to speak, free to express their thoughts openly, printed forms of expression like newspapers, pamphlets, books started coming up in France. And over the years, these various printed forms of expression started spreading the ideals of the French Revolution outside France. So in this way, the ideals of the French Revolution, the new vision of world that this French Revolution had opened up, did not remain restricted within France only. Those spread throughout Europe, and the masses were now able to see that they were being exploited and tortured by their own monarchs and emperors. And so throughout Europe, this spirit of nationalism gave people the power, the authority to overthrow those tyrannical and despotic rulers. They were now filled with courage. And it was this one French Revolution that gave birth to so many new kinds of feeling, so many new ways of looking at the world, so many new ways of forming various kinds of governments. So in this way, in this lesson, we learned about how the French Revolution played a very crucial part in fostering and spreading the spirit of nationalism throughout Europe. In our subsequent lesson, we will be focusing on the period that followed the French Revolution in France. We will learn about how one very powerful emperor came to power in France and the contributions or the power he enjoyed in France, and how he also played a crucial role in further spreading the spirit of nationalism throughout France in the 19th century. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.